What if gratitude isn't a feeling? What if it's energy? That energy that wants to move, to flow, to transform into action. What if the most natural response to being grateful isn't just saying thank you, but becoming a living thank you through service? Well, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love. I am Naomi, and today we are closing out our November Giving Back series by exploring the powerful connection between gratitude and service. From grateful hearts to giving hands, let's go there together. Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast, the season of healing intentionally. I am your host, Naomi Banks, and I am so glad that you are here. This season, we are slowing down to go deeper. Every Monday and Wednesday, we're creating a space of intentional healing, authentic conversations, and the kind of self-love that transforms from the inside out. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Naomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself intentionally is a foundation of true transformation. So whether you're on your own journey of rebirth, navigating life transitions, or simply choosing yourself, this is your safe space. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's heal together intentionally, because you deserve to embrace that beautiful person that you are. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Naomi Banks, and I'm truly excited. I'm excited about two things. I'm truly excited about this Monday. This week is Thanksgiving. I know we're not supposed to give thanks, but it is. This is a month of Thanksgiving, of being appreciative, of gratitude, but also I want to give this is our last show for the year. We will return back next year, continuing this series, continuing this season forward. I have a lot of things going on next month with my healing journey and doing some other things. So we will come back in January full force and ready to go. And by that time, hopefully Dr. Will is back with us on Mondays here on the Season of Self-Love. But before we get into this topic, we're talking about gratitude and how thank you shows up in service. I want us to just ground ourselves for a moment. All right. So wherever you are at this moment, at this time, you can just, if you feel comfortable enough to close your eyes and just get comfortable, please do so at this moment. All right. Deep breath in through your nose. I want you to hold it at the top and release it slowly through your mouth. Let's try that again. Let's breathe in through your nose. Hold it at the top. Now release it slowly through your mouth. Now I want you to place your hand on your heart. Feel that connection to yourself, to this moment, to your life. And I want you to think of 3 things that you're grateful for right now. They don't have to be big. They can be simple. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your home. Maybe it's the sunrise you saw this morning, or the coffee in your cup, or even the person who texts you in just to check in. But just 3 things, and I want you to notice them. But not only notice them, I want you to feel them. I want you to feel the warmth, that fullness in your chest. Yeah, that's gratitude. That's appreciation for what is. Now I want you to think of someone who served you, someone who showed up for you, someone who changed your life in big ways or small ways. Maybe it's a grandmother who raised you, a teacher who believed in you, a friend who held you when you were breaking, a stranger whose words reach you at exactly the right moment. I want you to see their face. See their face. Remember what they did for you and feel that gratitude for their gift. That gratitude you feel is not meant to stay inside of you. It's energy. And energy wants to move. It wants to flow through you and out into the world. It wants to become something. Gratitude naturally becomes generosity when we let it flow. And when we don't hold it in, we don't keep it to ourselves. It transforms in action. Now these next breaths, I want you to breathe in thanksgiving. I want you to fill yourself up with appreciation for all that you received. And when you breathe out, I want you to breathe out giving. I want you to feel that energy moving through you, ready to pour into others. You see, you have received so much, even if it doesn't always feel like it. Even in the hard seasons, even in the struggles, you have received. And now you give, not from obligation, not from guilt, but from overflow, from gratitude. Now I want you to take one more deep breath in. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. Happy Monday, y'all. Again, this is our final Monday here, just in this year period. And it's been an amazing year thus far. It truly has. With my rebirth, the rebirth is what we call this year. And next year, I'm going to announce it right now. Next year is all about reclaimed and unashamed. For our entire year, I'm excited to announce some things coming up in January. Just making sure that we have everything in line before we make the big announcement of those. But I'm just excited. I'm excited that we are here today. Just everything. And I know I'm getting a little tongue-tied of things, but can you believe that we are already here? Don't it seem like it went so fast? In the beginning of can you remember the beginning of the year, how it started off in January? And where we are now. But this month alone has been a journey. We started off by talking about why giving back is the ultimate act of self-love, right? And then we explored finding your service sweet spot, your unique way of just showing up. And then we dove deep down into how community is a mirror, right? And now today we are bringing it all together with the foundation that makes it all of its sustainable gratitude. November is the month of gratitude and giving, right? And that's not a coincidence. Those two things are deeply connected. They are deeply connected. They're two sides of the same coin. See, when we're truly grateful, not just performative, posting, our thankful list on social media, but deeply we are soulfully grateful, right? That service becomes natural. It becomes inevitable. So let me tell you about my grandmother, all right? She was one that was full of wisdom, the kind that couldn't be taught in books, the kind that came from life and spirit and just a deep knowing type of woman, right? One of the things that she used to say to me about cabbage, she said, baby, you got to know when to plant your seeds and when to harvest your crops. Everything has its seasons. And if you're grateful for the harvest, you take care of the soil. Listen to that. If you are grateful for the harvest, you take care of the soil. See, when I think about all the time, because my life has been seasons, my services has been seasons. All of it has been rooted in gratitude for the soil that I nurtured, the people who had poured into me, the experience that shaped me, the healing that transformed me. And my grandmother served me by passing down her wisdom. And now I serve others by sharing what she taught me. That's the connection. That's gratitude in motion. But today we're going to explore on how gratitude and service are intertwined, on how a grateful heart naturally leads to a giving hand, and how how it actually creates more to be grateful for. It's a cycle. It's a flow. And boy, is it beautiful. So let's get into it. So let's talk about gratitude as a foundation. We're going to start here. How gratitude is the foundation of a sustainable service. So when we recognize our blessings, when we truly see what we've been given, what we survive, what we become, we want to share it, right? It's almost instinctive. That is what we want to do. I know when I first got my spiritual awakening and all of these new things, especially talking about self-love, I wanted to share it right away. When I talking about share, I wanted to get on the phone and I was calling everybody. Then I said, okay, let me share it in my Ask Naomi podcast about self-love. Wait a minute, hold on, let me create the season of self-love. I wanted everybody to be a witness of my healing journey. I wanted everybody to be a witness on how blessed I was to be where I am today, or even at that moment then. So when we think about it now, when something is so good and it happens to you, that is our first impulse. So what's yours? It's to tell somebody, right? It's to share the joy, to bring someone else into that goodness. See, that's the gratitude that's become generosity. That's that natural flow. But here's the thing. If you are serving from guilt, from obligation, from a sense of I should or I have to, then that's not it. That's not sustainable. You will burn out. We talked about that in week 2. You'll burn out. But when you are serving from gratitude, when your service flows from a deep appreciation for what you receive, that's renewable energy. It doesn't deplete you. That's what actually fills you up. So I'm going to share you a journey of my own journey as an example. And we're going to call this from struggle to purpose to service. That's been my past. I'm going to say it again. From struggle to purpose to service. That's my past. So the struggle. It's been years in the adult industry. Disconnected myself from people. The shame, the pain, the feeling of being trapped. And when I say being trapped into a life that people think that I should be in, if that makes sense. And I didn't want to be in that life that people automatically assumed that I was a part of. And I'm going to say this, just because I was in the adult industry doesn't mean that I was a bad person. And the people that's in the adult industry, not all of them are bad people. You understand? But I wanted to disconnect myself from that stigma, if that makes sense. So the struggle for me had been not that I was in the adult industry, but the stigma that comes with it. The stigma that comes with it that I wanted to disconnect myself with. I wanted to disconnect myself from the shame that caused pain in my life. And that pain that was caused because it made me feel that I was trapped in this box. That I was trapped in this box. And then let's talk about the purpose. The purpose was realizing that my pain had a meaning. That my journey could help someone else. That I wasn't just surviving, that I was preparing to serve. And then the next one is the service. And that's everything that I do now. The podcast, the advocacy work, the safe spaces I create. The women I walk through their own explant journeys. My clients that want information or to get comfortable with their sexuality or how they talk to their wife or their spouse. or even have to have a relationship with themselves. But what fuels all that, where I am able to talk it so freely, is fuels by gratitude. Gratitude for the healing that I've experienced. Gratitude for the people who held space for me when I was falling apart. Gratitude for the second chance at life, at wholeness, at my authenticity. So when I am supporting the women who are scared about their explant surgery, I'm not doing it because I should. I'm doing it because I'm so grateful that someone did it for me. And that's gratitude. That's the gratitude that wants to move, that wants to become action. That's what I want you to understand. Gratitude for your healing, whatever your healing looks like, that naturally fuels your service. So when you've been lost and someone helped you find your way, you want to help others find theirs too, right? Exactly. So when you've been broken and you experience restoration, you want to hold space for others who are breaking. And when you've been seen in your full humanity by someone who didn't judge you, you want to create that space for others. That's gratitude in action. That's service rooted in thanksgiving. In a thanksgiving. And here's what's powerful about it. See, when your service comes from a place of gratitude, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice. It feels like a privilege. You get to do this. You get to pass on what was given to you. You get to be a part of someone else's healing journey. And that is not a burden. That is a blessing. It is not a burden. It is a blessing. So if you've been struggling to find that motivation to serve, if giving back feels heavy or it feels like an obligation, I want you to check your foundation. I want you to check your foundation. Are you serving from gratitude, or are you serving from guilt? And that's the question I'm going to ask again. And I want y'all to think about this. Are you serving from gratitude, or are you serving from guilt? Because gratitude makes service sustainable. Gratitude makes service joy. When I'm on this podcast, when I'm on Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap podcast, I feel joy. I get joy. I get joy of talking about the things that I've been through. I talk about the joys of the lessons that I've learned. I get joy with sharing my authenticity on how I got through it. And I know when I begin with Body Choice and Voice podcast, that's coming from a place of gratitude that gives me joy. So let's talk about honoring those who served you. Let's talk about the one of the most powerful motivation of service is honoring those who serve you. Because here's the truth. You didn't get here alone. None of us did. Remember last week I talked about how our community mirrors one another, how we mirror one another in those communities. So how somebody showed up for you, how somebody showed up for you, how somebody believed in you, how somebody poured into you when they didn't have to. That's also a part of that community that we talked about last week that also mirrored you. And one of the most beautiful ways to honor them is by doing for others what they did for you. So let me tell you about 3 people who served me in ways that still guide my work today. First, I want to tell you about my grandmother. I already mentioned her, but I do need to go deeper. She didn't just pass down her wisdom about cabbage and seasons. She passed down spiritual guidance. She taught me to trust my intuition, to honor my ancestors, and to create altars in sacred spaces. She taught me that the divine is personal and intimate and not just institutional. When my grandmother passed away, I remember promising her that I would carry forward what she gave me, that I wouldn't let her wisdom die with her. So when I sit at my altar every morning, when I guide women to connect with their own spirituality, when I guide men to connect with their own spirituality, when I talk about intuition and divine downloads, that's me honoring my grandmother. That's her living through my service. That's me paying it forward, that honor those who poured in to me. And that's what it looks like for you. Paying it forward, honor those who poured into you. And second, I want to talk about Dr. Sood, my explant surgeon. This man who literally removed the implants that was poison in my body. But more than that, he gave me something that I desperately needed. And it's going to shock y'all when I say this, validation. He believed me when others doctors dismissed. He saw my symptoms as real. He operated with the do no harm principle that restored my faith in the medical field, at least some. Now, when I advocate for women with breast implant illness, when I help them find surgeons who will listen, when I validate their experience, that's my honoring Dr. Sood. That's me passing on the gift that he gave me. And third, Miss Laura Bowden. And I always say her name right, Miss Laura Bowden. She was a BII advocate who came before me. She was vocal. She was tireless. She was unafraid to speak truth about what breast implants were doing to her woman's body, to her body, to women's body. And when she was ready to step back, when her season of advocacy was coming to a close, I heard it. She passed the baton on to me, but not only to me, but to so many different amazing women that's out there that have been through the same journey that I have. We didn't have no ceremony. We didn't have any of that. But energetically, she gave that to me and I felt it. She served the BII community, the breast implant illness community, with everything that she had. And now I'm doing the same. I'm carrying that torch that she lit. But what is so amazing that I'm not the only one that is carrying that torch, that she herself literally created a ripple effect. That's legacy. That's how we honor those who serve us, by becoming the next link in the chain. And here's what I want you to think about. Who served you? Who showed up for you? Who changed your life? And how can you honor them by doing for others what they did for you? Maybe your mom worked 3 jobs so she can go to college. Honor her by mentoring a young person who needs guidance. Or maybe it's a teacher who believed in you when no one else did. Honor them by believing in someone who's doubted themselves. Or maybe a friend who held you through your darkest season. Honor them by being that friend for someone else. You don't have to serve them the exact same way, but you can carry forward. You can carry forward that spirit of what they gave you. That's how we keep their impact alive. That's how we multiply their generosity. And here's something so beautiful. When you honor someone by serving others in their name, it keeps your connection to them alive too. My grandmother passed many years ago, but every time I help a woman to her spirituality, or every time I help a man into their spirituality, every time I talked about my ancestors and altars, she's alive right in that. Her service continues through mine. Well, Dr. Sood probably has no idea on how many women that I've helped because of what he did for me. But he's part of every single one of those stories. And Miss Laura might not even know that I see myself as carrying her baton, but she's woven into a fabric of my advocacy work. And other women I can't just hold this because I know other women are doing the same because I see them. That's the power of honoring those who serve you through your own service. It creates an unbroken chain of impact that spans generations. So who are you honoring? Whose service are you carrying forward? Whose impact are you multiplying? I want you to think about it. I want you to write their names down and let that be your gratitude fuel for you giving. So now let's talk about an abundance mindset. We're going to shift it a little bit. We're going to shift everything to the abundance mindset, because gratitude isn't just about appreciating what you have, but it's about recognizing that there's enough, that you have enough, and that you are enough. And from that place of enoughness, you can give freely. Gratitude, it opens the door of abundance. It shifts you from that scarcity thinking that I don't have enough, that I am not enough, to abundance thinking, to I have received so much and I have so much to give. And that's the shift. That is that shift. And that is how changes how you serve. That is how it changes how you serve. We talked about this before. Service from scarcity looks like, this is what it looks like. If I give this away, I'll have less. If I help them, who's going to help me? I can't afford to be generous. Service comes from abundance, and it looks like I've been given so much I can share freely, and there's enough for everyone. I want to stop right here for a moment. There's someone that I watch all the time, and I think his name is Zach. He's an influencer. And I love what he does out there. I really do. He pretends to be homeless, and he will go up to strangers and ask them for money. And it's just so beautiful to see a lot of these people with hardly anything would give their last to a stranger. For me, that shows how that there is still love and humanity out for one another. That there is still hope for us in a world that we look at that's so broken and so damaged and so hurt, that there still are people out there that are giving back. And when I look at some of the stories and how many lives that not only he helped save and change, but also with the community, what they have done. I saw where he had raised over $500,000 for someone, have given him homes. That's part of the service that I want to do. I like that service. But I know I have to start somewhere. And this right here, this is good enough for me right here, because I know that it's going to continue to build as I continue to give from a place of love, from a place of abundance. That I'm not giving from a place of scarcity, or I'm not giving from a place of guilt. And when I look at this young man doing the things that he do, I say, yeah, he's giving from a place of abundance. So that was one example of what service from abundance look like. But this is what it would say for you in your mindset. I've been given so much that I can share freely. I have been given so much that I can share freely, and there is enough for everyone. So when I go down and I look down my life timeline of journey, and all of the people, I know I just named 3, my grandmother, Dr. Sue, and Laura, but it's so many more before that have given to me, have talked into me. I shared some of them with you last week. But also when I think about my life, I think about the experiences in my life, whether they were trying or triumphing, they given me something. They give me abundance. They give me joy. They give me a testimony. And so I'm grateful. But now I want you to see the difference between how you're giving. When you're grateful, when you're truly grateful, you start to see the abundance everywhere. That you start to notice all of the ways that you've been providing for, all the ways that you've been blessed, all the resources that have been available to you, all from the place that's giving becomes natural. It becomes joyful. Let me tell you the difference between service from gratitude and service from guilt, because they can look the same on the outside, but feel completely different on the inside. Service from guilt says, I should help because I have more than they do, and that's not fair. Service from gratitude says, I am so grateful for what I have and I want to share. Service from guilt says, if I don't do this, I'm a bad person. And can I be very honest with you all? I remember being in that service from guilt, being in that space. I remember being in that place. Now, I'm from a service from gratitude where I can say this. I get to do this. I get to do this every day. I get to share my voice. I get to share my story. I get to share my narrative of what that looks like. I get to share my healing. I get to share my authenticity. And you know what that is? That's a privilege. I have that privilege, but you also have that privilege too. But also, service from guilt, it depletes you. It makes you resentful. But service from gratitude, it energizes you. It makes you so much more grateful. And here's the beautiful cycle of it all. Giving creates more to be grateful for. So when you serve someone, when you make a difference in someone's life, you don't just help them, you receive something too. You receive purpose, connection, joy, meaning. So you become grateful for the opportunity to serve, which makes you want to serve more, which gives you more to be grateful for. And that's a cycle. It's a cycle. It's a flow. It's the abundance, a mindset in action. It is that abundance mindset in action. And I see this in my own life all the time. When I will be hosting a purpose rebirth retreat and watch women transform over a weekend, I will walk away grateful. Grateful that I got to be a part of their journey. Grateful for the trust that they placed in me. Grateful for the privilege of holding that space. And that gratitude fuels for my next retreat, my next podcast episode, my next act of service. And it's not draining for me. It's renewing. That's what happened when you serve from abundance instead of scarcity. When you give gratitude instead of guilt. So here's my question for you. What's your mindset around giving? What is your mindset around giving? Do you give from a place of, I don't have enough, but I should anyway? Or from a place of, I have been blessed and I get to share? Because that shift in perspective, that shift from scarcity to abundance, from guilt to gratitude, it changes everything. So I want you to try this. Before you serve, before you give, Before you, I want you to take a moment to get grateful. And I want you to reflect on what you received. Reflect on what you received. And then I want you to remember how far have you come? And I want you to appreciate what you have. And then give from that overflow and watch how different it feels. I want to share this story with you all real fast. Just the other day, it had rained here. It hadn't rained here in a long time, but it had been raining all week long for a good 4 or 5 days. And I remember opening up the curtains out in my sliding door to the back door out the kitchen. And I remember looking, it was very gloomy, very gloomy. And when I looked outside, the backyard looked so beautiful. That oasis looked so beautiful. Even when it was so dreary outside, I saw nothing but light. I felt so grateful for just me being here, standing there, to be able to even look at something that would be considered so dark and gloomy. And I was able to see it as a light. I don't know if y'all even hear me when I say this, but my vision is different, if that makes sense. The way that I view things is different. So when you're coming from a place of gratitude, of abundance, of love, of authenticity, of this is what I truly want to do and be, you start to look at things different, your perspective and your vision. So when I looked outside and it was raining and gloomy, I didn't see that. And I took a picture of it. And that picture reflected exactly what I seen. Exactly what I seen. And I meant to post it the other day and I didn't. So I think I'm going to post it today. I think I'm going to post it today on my timeline. But it was so amazing. But when you do, when you begin to start serving, and this is my thing, I love to hear back from you all. I love to hear the letters that you all write me. I love to hear it. And I know some of them I haven't gotten back to all of them just yet, but I will get back to every single one of you because I love to hear that. You know why I love to hear that? Because I know that my story is not wasted. I know that my journey is not wasted. I know that. And if it fuels me, I know that it's going to fuel you, which is going to fuel someone else. And that will be a part of that ripple effect that we always talk about. That's about that pay it forward. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, changing the world. All right, so let's talk about joy and generosity. And I want to close out this main content. And I want to talk about something that we don't talk about enough. When we talk about joy and generosity, it's not a secret because sometimes people think it's a secret. Okay, let's say this. People say, how do you find your joy? And is joy generous? Can we be generous without joy? The thing is that serving others, it feels good, right? Making a difference, it fills you up. Generosity is our own reward. I'm not talking about the performative. I want you to, the performative. Look at me being a good person. Hey, look at me being good. Look at me on this podcast talking about this good self-love shit. Sorry, I said that. I'm talking about that deep soul level satisfaction that comes from knowing you matter to someone, that you made their day lighter, that you made their journey easier. That feeling, that's joy. And it's not selfish. Promise y'all it's not selfish. It's not selfish to acknowledge that. It's honest. So yes, when we serve others because it's needed. But we also serve because we need it. We need purpose. We need connection. We need to know that our lives matter beyond ourselves. Did y'all hear me when I said that? We need to know that our lives matter beyond ourselves. And service gives us that. When I think about the retreats that's coming up, the transformation events that I will be hosting for women, that I'll be hosting for men, helping them to come to share their old identities and step into new ones. I can tell you that to do that, not only does it help them, but it's helped me. It helps me as well. I don't only do it to help them. I'm telling you, this is a part of my journey. One of my good friends say always healing. Well, actually, two of my good friends say forever healing or always healing. And this is true. So me being a service, me sitting on this podcast talking, me standing in those rooms, me sitting with a client, that's a part of my healing. But I also do it because watching someone having a breakthrough, watching them realize their power, watching them choose themselves for the first time. You know what that does? That fills my cup in ways that nothing else does. Imagine that. Imagine allowing someone else's journey help fill your cup. That's joy. That's that gift that I receive when I give. And I am not ashamed about it. I am not ashamed of that at all, because it's part of that cycle. It's a part of that abundance mindset. So when you give, you receive. Not because you're trying to get something back, but because of generosity naturally creates joy. I want you to think about the last time that you helped someone. Maybe you paid for someone groceries. Maybe you listened to a friend who was struggling, or maybe you mentored someone at work. Didn't you feel good afterward? Didn't something in you light you up? That's not ego. That's the natural high of being human in the best possible way. That is your soul celebrating its purpose. So don't run from that joy. Don't run from that joy. Don't downplay it. Let yourself feel it. Service is my joy. Service is my purpose. Service is my prayer. And when I'm in it, when I'm podcasting, when I'm coaching, when I'm holding space, when I'm advocating, I am filled. I am energized. I am alive. That's what service from gratitude looks like. It's not a moderate energy. It's a celebration energy. So as we close out this Giving Back series, I want you to remember. I want you to remember this, that service isn't supposed to drain you. It's supposed to fill you. It's not bringing you joy. Check your foundation. Check your foundation. Check your mindset. Check whether you're giving from gratitude or guilt, or from abundance or scarcity. Because when you get it right, when you serve from a sweet spot, from your overflow, from the grateful heart that you have, it becomes one of the most joyful parts of your life. And when I say this with truth, because that's joy. It's contagious, and it inspires others to serve. You know what it does? Again, it creates more ripples. And that's that beautiful cycle that we've been talking about all month. That's that beautiful cycle that we've been talking about all year. And it all starts with gratitude. All right, so let's make this practical. So, we take this gratitude from feeling to action, all right? So here's what I want to ask you to do this week. I want you to write down 10 people or experiences that you're grateful for? Not just the obvious one. I want you to dig deep down in there. Deep down in there. Who taught you something important? Who showed you kindness when you needed it? And who challenged you in ways that made you grow? What experiences shaped you? What hardships actually led to a breakthroughs? What moments changed your perspective? I want you to write them down. 10 of them. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let yourself really feel their gratitude as you write it. This isn't just a list. This is for you to acknowledge your blessings. This is for you to recognize all of the ways that you've been served, supported, and shaped. Now I got an action for you. Another one. This action. I want you to choose one person to honor by serving someone else in their name. Look at your list of 10, and I want you to choose one person who really stands out. And then this week, I want you to serve someone else in their honor. If it's your grandmother that taught you to cook a meal for someone who needs it and say, this is the honor of my grandmother. If it's a teacher that believed in you, mentor someone and think of your teacher while doing it. And if it's a friend that held space for you in pain, I want you to hold space for someone else. And let that be your thank you to your friend. You're not doing this for recognition. You're doing it as an act of gratitude. You're continuing their impact. So I want you to create we're going to call this a gratitude to action plan. For every blessing, one act of service. This is about creating a sustainable practice. So every time you notice a blessing, every time you feel grateful for someone, ask yourself, how can I pass this forward? How can I pay this forward? I'm grateful for your health. Donate to a health organization or support someone in a health crisis. I'm grateful for your home. Volunteer at a shelter or help someone whose housing is insecure. I'm grateful for your education. Tutor someone or share your knowledge freely. For every blessing, one act of service, that's gratitude in action flow. Try it this week. Just try it and notice how it feels. Notice how gratitude and service start to be so inseparable. Remember I said earlier about two sides of one coin on one side of the coin? That's what this is. That's what this is. All right, my beautiful people, before we close, let's seal this in our spirits. Put a hand on our heart, a deep breath in, and I want you to speak these words with me, all right? I am deeply grateful for all that I have received. My gratitude overflows in generous actions. I honor those who served me by serving others. My giving hands are guided by my grateful heart. I live in abundance and I share abundantly. Service is my joy, my purpose, my prayer. As I give, I receive. As I serve, I am filled. I am grateful. I am generous. And I am making a difference. I want y'all to breathe that in and let this be your truth. And that's it, my beautiful people. That's the end of our November Giving Back series. And that's the end of this part of this season. We will be coming back. We covered so much this month, from understanding why service is self-love, to finding your unique way to give, to recognizing community as your mirror, and to connecting gratitude with generosity. I hope this series has shifted something in you. I hope that it's giving you permission to serve in your own way, from your own overflow, with your own gifts. And I hope it's reminded you that you are a part of something bigger, that your life ripples outward, and that your service matters. And as we head into the new year with new themes, new conversations, I want you to carry this with you. Gratitude and service are not separate practices. They are two expressions of the same truth. You are blessed, and you are a blessing. If this series impacted you, please share it, send it to someone who needs to hear it, and leave a review. Tag me on social media, and most importantly, let's take action. Don't just consume the content. Let it transform into service. Let your grateful heart become giving hands. Again, I thank you for being here. I thank you for being a part of this community. I thank you for being willing to give back. I can't tell y'all enough how much I love you all. Now go make a difference. This is the season of self-love. I am Naomi. I'll see y'all next year. Have an amazing Monday. Thank you so much for joining me today on this journey of intentional healing. I hope that this conversation has filled your cup and reminded you of the beautiful and worthy person that you are. I want you to remember, healing isn't about rushing. It's about showing up for yourself with love and intention, one day at a time. So I'll see you back here Monday and Wednesday for another episode of the Season of Healing Intentionally, right here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. So until then, keep choosing you. And visit us at the seasonofselflovepodcast.com for show notes and resources. And remember to connect with me on Instagram at The Real Naomi Banks. This has been brought to you by Ask Naomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, because your healing matters. You are loved, you are worthy, and you are exactly where you need to be. Take care.